Hello Internet and welcome to episode 14 of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. You're joining myself, Chris, alongside my lovely co-host, to my right, your left, the spooky teacher himself, Mr. Tom.
I'm embarrassed for you.
It's me, really, ladies and gentlemen. It's Chris, one of the hosts of the Sounds of Stadia podcast. You're joining us this week for our post-show, the day before Halloween, the Hallows Eve, where we're going to be talking about the spooky games that have scared the shit out of us in the years gone by. I'm joined by my lovely co-hosts. Tom, give us your best ghost noise. And below him, the man of many scary pixels, Mr. Richie. Give us your best gargoyle noise.
Oh, why don't I get gargoyle? Do gargoyles make noises? I don't know.
I mean, yeah.
I mean, that's a decent gargoyle noise right there.
Maybe. So, gentlemen,
It's already off the rails.
post-show 14, obviously the post-show we bring to our lovely Patreons almost a week early. They get this on the Sunday, Monday sometimes, so super early. So if you're a fan of the show and you love our shits and giggles that we have after hours almost, head over to patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia, where as little as $1 you can get in on this crazy spooky action super early. But here we are here the day before Halloween. Halloween's all about ghosts and goblins and ghouls and creepy things and everything else that starts with a G, golf balls and such. But this week we are here to... Golf balls can be scary if they're flying right at your face, going very fast.
Different type of scary, Chris. Different type of
It
scary.
is a different type of scary. But we are here to discuss our scary games of yesteryear. And I, for one, am not a big horror game fan because I don't like being scared. It's weird. There's something in my human nature which doesn't want to be scared. It's almost like it's instinctive. Alas, some people put us through. I like to do horror games as a group. So I thought we'll go around briefly for a little chat on this post show and talk about it. So for me, to kickstart things off, what comes to mind right off the bat, Dino Crisis. Dino Crisis.
Scary dinosaurs.
Of course, from the makers of Resident Evil, famed horror franchise. Yeah, I had Dino Crisis, which must have been a 15 or 18 rated game. I somehow had that on PlayStation when I was 10, 11, maybe.
I'm not sure where age ratings in games were about then, because they're relatively new in terms of context of gaming. Are you sure? Because it's definitely our lifetime that age ratings came out.
Yeah, it came out in our lifetime.
Yeah, but you're talking like 20 years ago.
Tom will research. No, I guarantee. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, surely it would have been.
The ESRB was founded in September 16th, 1994. That is when the ratings officially came
so that'll be about right.
But
Dino
at what
Crisis
point did that translate over to Europe, though?
You know what? I'm just gonna search for it straight away. Dino Crisis cover art.
Yeah.
And then let's see.
Oh dear.
Capcom. M for mature.
Oh well.
Which means what will that have been in the UK? 15? Oh, there you go. 15,
That would have been
yeah,
15.
15. There we go. So as a 10, 11-year-old, probably not the right game for me. I don't know how I got my hands on it. It wouldn't have been something I'll have asked for. This will have been probably my dad just spoke to his friend and had a couple of variety of games that were popular at the time.
An electronics boutique.
Yeah, an electronics boutique. And obviously back then I don't think games were really seen as being scary because the graphics weren't really up to snuff to be real life.
In people's mind, it was all Sonics and Marios.
It was all just fun. The stuff that they sell in the arcade. But I remember playing this with my cousin, and my word, this game scared the shit out of us. Like, we used to play it around our grandparents on a small CRT TV, probably, no bigger than my face, really. And oh god, yeah, just so many jump scares. Like the typical stuff that scares you in Resident Evil within the corridors with like the blood trails and the velociraptors. In Resident Evil with the zombies and stuff coming out. This does the same, but with velociraptors jumping through glass, windows, chasing you down corridors, climbing on top of fences and I'm having flashbacks now just thinking about it.
He's actually traumatized right now.
Traumatized by it. Don't get me wrong, I am clambering for a new one. I would love the RE engine that remade number 2 so well to come back and remake Dino Crisis. Like, I would love to see this remade, and as an adult, You'd love
it for about 20 minutes until you go, I'm scared.
Yeah, and it had very much the same puzzle tropes Resident Evil did, like get the key code, get the password to figure out how to get into a door. But there is one distinct moment, I think, where you're talking to like a lead scientist who's been trapped in the building, and as he's about to drop the knowledge that you need to know to progress, a Tyrannosaurus bursts through the window to his office, rips him to shreds, and you have to stand with a fixed camera angle while this T-Rex head is trying to grab at you, and you've got to somehow escape the building. And it's riveting and
beautiful,
crazy all at the same time. Published by Virgin Interactive, funny enough.
Oh wow,
that's a throwback as well to the 90s.
That is a throwback. That.
So yeah, Dino Crisis, I would love to see remake come out. So get on it, Capcom. Give us that lovely stuff. But yeah, that for one definitely traumatized me as a child, albeit the age rating should have been there to prevent me play it. That's not how things work in reality. So that's for me. I'll throw it over to you next. Let us know your
Speaking of Capcom, so my first experience really of a scary game, I'd probably say, was around about the time that Resident Evil 3 came out. I think that was probably my first hand experience, like me solo playing a scary game. I always remember like running through the hallways and Nemesis bursting through like basically anywhere that you've decided to go. He'd just suddenly be in front of you. And there's nothing scarier than like a 7-foot tall monster holding a rocket launcher of all things, staring you down. Like, you know what devastation.
It sounds like, when you put it that way, it sounds like over the top to the point where it becomes comical. Yeah. It absolutely wasn't.
No, God no. And I always remember like there was one part where I got stuck in a very narrow hallway, and I had to my left a save room where you'd obviously go and you'd have the tapes. In Resident Evil 3, you needed to collect the tapes to be able to save the game. You go in, you save, and then I left the room, turned, opened a gate. Who's immediately on the other side of that gate? I noped the hell out of that so quickly. I don't think I ever played it again until way later in my life. But that's not what I would list as my scariest game, because a certain title came out in 2010 on PC, only on PC, survival horror game.
Five Nights at Freddy's.
By Frictional Games. It's a little game called Amnesia: The Dark Descent.
Fucking hell, that game.
Yeah. It did actually come out later on PlayStation 4 and Xbox One, sort of like 2016, 2017, I think. You played as a guy called Daniel. You had to explore an old dark and foreboding castle, and within it, shit went down. You had to try to maintain your sanity while also solving puzzles and avoiding monsters. It's the kind of game where you were in a first-person view and you had to hide inside obstacles when these giant things were like storming the castle and walking around, basically looking to shred you to pieces. It's also the first game where I've ever experienced, like, I have horror from Sonic the Hedgehog, the underwater levels.
Dun, 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 dun.
Yeah. But this game takes it to a whole new level when you go into the sewers of the castle, only to find that there is an invisible water monster chasing you. You can't see it at all, but you can see the splashes in the water as it's approaching you. Yeah. So with that game in particular, you had to jump from obstacle to obstacle. If you think of like the floor as lava, it's the floor as lava, but something is literally eating at your heels. That game scared the hell out of me, but I streamed it and I had so much fun playing it. I got very, very drunk while playing it as well, and I think that's the only way you can survive any sort of horror game these days.
Just desensitize yourself.
Just desensitize yourself and make it funny. Make it funny. But yeah, shout out if you've never played Amnesia: The Dark Descent before.
Maybe they forgot about playing it.
Yeah, try to forget about playing it. But no, that's by far it's top of my scary list. Wow. Ooh, I mean, what a game.
On Amnesia, I've just glanced at my Steam library. I've got 27 minutes of play time on that, and that's how scary that game is. Within 27 minutes, it was ingrained in my memory. Like, fuck that.
Yep.
Fuck that game.
Yep.
Oh yeah. It was a very, very. I think I got like a humble bundle or something, and it's like I'll just jump in and see what this game's about without looking into anything about the game. It's like nope. But the game I want to bring up is another one where I kind of did that. It was a title by EA, quite a cult classic actually. Dead Space. This is another one I got as a humble bundle, and I thought, it's probably going to be like a shooter, like Doom or something. Fuck no. Again, this is one I bounce very quickly. I don't like horror games on my own at all. No, as soon as I realised what I was playing, it's like, no, I'm out.
Yeah, it's a sick type of enjoyment you get from, I think, horror games, like especially when you're on your own, because you kind of just have to ask yourself, why am I doing this to myself? Especially with like the flickering light, the dark corridors. So many horror games now have the torch, where your only view is that peripheral circle of light.
Yeah.
And that's it, and you're scanning across, like games like Slender Man and stuff that have came into like popularity. Yeah, it's jump scares, man. Like how many games now have you crawling through a space, and you get to the edge of that like space where they've slowed you right down, like to almost reel you in.
About the jump scares, it's about the atmosphere that puts you on edge. That's when I think horror games are at the best. Jump scares are one of them go, oh my god, what was that, for about 5 seconds, and you're like, oh, it's over. And that's where I think I've seen like Let's Plays and stuff of Five Nights at Freddy's, and I just don't think it looks like a good game, to be perfectly honest.
I mean, there's not much of a game
there. It's purely jump scare.
Yeah, that's it. But with things like Amnesia and like Dead Space, even in Resident Evil, stuff like that.
Shout out
it's
to
about
Outlast
the atmosphere
as well, actually. Shout out to Outlast.
I think that might be another one I got on. It might have been the same Humble Bundle.
Yeah.
112 minutes this time before I went.
Okay. Stepping it up a little.
I got almost 2 hours.
Yeah, I think Outlast, I got into the mansion, and I think as soon as my battery went dead for the first time, I was like, I'm out. I can't go further into this sanctuary. But yeah, horror games, they've changed so much. I'm trying to think of like times where I've genuinely been on edge. Even in like mainstream games, I think there's a good few moments in like The Last of Us which really get you on the way. Like the music drops, like you said, Richie, atmospheric, where you're hunting around and I think with the things like the clickers and the bloaters, they're not jump scares. They don't attack you outright. You have to navigate around them while they twitch and flicker. And so many times they've made a noise, and I think that they've seen me or they've responded to me, and they haven't. But Naughty Dog do this amazing thing where as soon as you come in within like half a meter radius of them, they start going, or they do like a noise or a glitch, or they move the shoulder, which makes you quickly move, which then in turn they find you, and it's like, it's so good.
Yeah. I think with The Last of Us as well, it does that typical Naughty Dog thing where it changes up how you're playing the game based on what segment of the game you're playing.
Yeah.
Which a lot of horror games tend not to. It tends to keep you on edge the entire time.
Yeah, you need like that up and down, don't you, to give your heart a rest, if anything.
But yeah, there's sections in like The Last of Us 1 and 2 where things are a bit more quiet, a bit more relaxed, and there's a bit more banter between characters, or just full-on action sections.
Yeah, agreed. I think, Tom, when you were saying there about the monster in the water in Amnesia, that gave me flashbacks to Killer Croc in Arkham Asylum. When you drop down in the sewer and you know he's there, but you have to figure out the puzzle as you see like everything's just silent, and you can see the ripples in the water settle, and then the planks of wood floating around the pallets, they settle, but then out of nowhere the music beat picks up and you don't know which direction the tunnel is coming from, and then out of nowhere this massive monster just attacks you and can pull you under, and it's
I think another trope of horror games as well that you sort of alluding to there is this idea of like the power struggle as well. I think horror games that lend themselves really well as well is when the antagonist is sort of extremely overwhelming to you as the main character as well. Things like, I think more recently Alien Isolation, with the xenomorph walking around, like you literally, it's just so instilling of fear, isn't it, to see it? Or just other titles like wherever you have Silent Hill, like with Pyramid Head as well, like you just see those like foreboding characters and you just think, well, I'm fucked.
Alien Isolation. That's the title.
Yeah.
I played that with one of our good friends, Lee. We shared the flat together for about a year, and he had an Xbox with the Kinect, so we had the Kinect on as well, and we just sat down on the couch, being whispering to each other, like, and just hiding and venting. We're both like full on edge. That was a great way to play that.
I'm already thinking with the Kinect that if you make a noise,
yeah,
the alien
it picks
can
up
hear
your
you
noise.
through that,
Oh yeah.
But there's little things like you could peek round corners, like it track your movement.
Yeah. So that brings me on to like my next point for horror, which I think it's evolved tenfold because of it, is VR. That is so much added layers of scariness when you're fully immersed. Like Until Dawn is a great horror game if you've not played it as well. But playing Until Dawn Rush of Blood, where you are at like a crazy carnival, and again you've got that, you only have the peripheral torch vision of where you're aiming your guns. So many times you'll glance left and right, and because it's a game, it can just procedurally generate the enemy to the direction you're not looking. So all it takes is for me to look off to the right, the game pops in a bad guy to my left, and then as soon as I look left again, he's in my face. But he's genuinely in my face. He's not on a screen the other side of the room on a TV. He's genuinely in my face, and it's scary as shit.
Absolutely.
Oh, yeah, I can feel my heart going now just thinking about things like that.
Spooky games.
And obviously Resident Evil, the newer one, has been fully immersed in VR. I've not played it for that reason. It's been on offer so many times, but I don't want to play Resident Evil in VR because I feel like I would die from a heart attack of being just jumped out on. We should probably give a good shout out as well to Guilt on Stadia. It's a very different type of horror game. I think it's a not as in your face horror. It's more taking a kind of a weak, defenseless character in the form of a young girl, and similar to the games like Little Nightmare and stuff. You don't have any weapons. It kind of depowers you by taking away everything. So your essential chance of survival is avoidance, and I think that adds another element to fear, which is really, really interesting. Where it's not about surviving; it's about just not being seen and being hidden and figuring out puzzles of navigating around obstacles without being spotted, and that adds another element of is he looking at me? Am I close enough for him to see me? Yeah. And then when they do see it, that big got yeah.
From what we've heard of Guilt as well, it seems very entry level survival horror. It's like there is some resource management a bit, but resources are kind of abundant as well. So I think it's definitely pitched towards a slightly younger audience. But
it's a gateway to horror games, if anything.
Great game from what we've played so far.
Absolutely. Spooky.
Any final horror points that you're looking forward to, or you have played?
I'm looking forward to playing some Dead by Daylight, to be honest with you.
Yeah. Well,
I like the power struggle.
Yeah. Do you prefer?
I like the feel of being powerful. So I understand. I'm starting to sort of sympathize with these antagonists of horror films and horror games, because I get the power struggle. I get it. I like the sense of control.
It's moments like that. I'm glad there's a pandemic, so he's not allowed to come near me.
Oh right, okay.
Scary.
You've just said you empathize with serial killers.
Fictional serial killers.
What can I say?
should denote that, yeah. Fictional serial killers.
I want to give a shout out to the Telltale Walking Dead games.
Yeah, they're a different type
horror.
Of horror,
a different type of horror, but I think they're still worth talking about because them games were great.
Yeah, it's storytelling horror almost.
Yeah,
where it doesn't have to be scary. It's just the world in itself is fucked because of this horrific thing.
Yeah, for someone who didn't get into the Walking Dead TV show beyond like season 1, I've really enjoyed playing through the Telltale series. So
yeah, I think a lot of people have. We've said many times we'd love to see them come to Stadia.
Definitely.
But that's a quick take for our post-show 14 of our favourite horror game. I wouldn't say even favourite, it's just the scariest ones that have lodged themselves in our memory because they are so scary. And there is loads of them out there, so we would love to hear what your favourite horror games are and what your biggest jump scare moments are. So drop a comment down below, let us know. Send us your tweets of your gifs of things that have made you jump and maybe even shit your pants in the past. We'd love to hear about it. This has been... Well, we wouldn't love to hear about that particular moment, but you get the general gist. If you are watching this on the Friday, don't forget to check out our Sounds of Stadia Hallow stream. That's coming up tomorrow, this Saturday, All Hallows Eve itself, 31st of October, where we'll be playing some spooky horror games in the theme of the month, of the theme of the day. Little Nightmares, Dead by Daylight, and other things. Maybe even some Guilt. We'll have a look at that. But keep it locked, keep it liked and subscribed to the channel for that kind of thing. If you haven't done so already, we massively appreciate a sub. Keeps us ticking over, keeps us boosting the channel onwards and upwards. And if you do want to jump in and play things like Dead by Daylight with us, we also have the Patreon page as well. Sounds of Stadia. No, it's not. It's patreon.com/Sounds of Stadia. Get the right way around, Chris. That was scary, that brief moment there. But thank you very much for joining us. My name's been Chris.
I've been Spooky Tom.
I've been just normal Richie.
Yeah.
And this is a devil mask.
It's Chris's real face.
Yeah.
Once you peel off the skin, it is. Yeah.
Which one's the mask?
Which one is the mask? Thank you very much for
deep.
staying for the Pod Show. We've been Sounds of Stadia. Take care, everyone, and have a great Halloween. Goodbye.
Bye.
Bye.